Okay. Can everyone see? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you all so much for coming. We are super excited. This is the final town hall of the year, and we wanted to use this opportunity to kind of go through some highlights of 2024, our journey this year. And then we're super excited. Jill is going to be sharing about her trip to Sierra Leone from last month as well. So today I'm presenting with Jill and Vanessa. Jill is the executive director. Vanessa is the communications supervisor. And my name's Taylor. I am the donor communications officer. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We are super excited about the impact that we've seen so far this year. 2024 was a great year. We kind of hit some really cool milestones. We had 12 community partnerships through the Nurturing Opportunities for Women program, which is super excited. We had 468 women who graduated from the first phase of Now. And so many of those women are currently in the second phase of Now, which is focusing on improving business skills. So this was such an impactful year for the Nurturing Opportunities for Women program. There's been some amazing growth through there. We've also had 4 community partnerships through the Community Action Program. They've done some awesome things. And as of this year, the impact there have been 50,000 individuals who have been impacted by our work and partnership. So what a cool number just to hit, and we wanted to celebrate that. And then we had in the Nurturing Opportunities for Women program, 432 workshops were conducted this year. That is incredible. And this is across all 3 phases. So a variety of different trainings that the women are getting. And it's just incredible to think about how this is not only affecting them, but their families and their communities, and just how the change has been spreading outward from there. So we're just really proud of that. These are just some of our top like high points of the year. But really one thing that I think has stood out to us as a team is the power of partnership this year, and how partnership is not something that's supposed to just start and end with us. But we want our partners in Sierra Leone to have the opportunity and skill and resources to keep reaching for more. And we actually have this quote that I want to read from one of our partners in Sierra Leone. Anne-Marie Bakri is from Majo, and they recently completed the construction of a primary school that has been incredible. It's been serving the community and surrounding communities. But it hasn't just stopped there. Like already they are excited to keep thinking about what they want for their future. So this is a quote from her. She said, "This is our first time as a community to confidently travel to the Kailahun to have a meeting with district council. This has given us more confidence to knock on the doors of bigger organizations for support." So as we can see, they're already thinking about what's coming next. And we're just super excited that this is what partnership is all about, and not being able to just have like a stopping point, but just to keep reaching for more. So with that, I'm gonna send this over to Vanessa. She's gonna keep sharing about some highlights from this year.
Thanks, everyone, and thank you, Taylor. So, as Taylor introduced, I'm Vanessa. I'm the communications supervisor at OneVillage Partners. I was in Sierra Leone for the last 2 years and a bit, but I'm just not there right now. But the reason why I say that is not being home, and I say home because I am Sierra Leonean, but like not being at home in the last year, but seeing the impact that a lot of the communities that we work in is truly so inspiring, and it makes me just as motivated to go back home and continue seeing these impacts. But during this year, one of my favorite communities that we've been able to work with, not being biased or anything, has been Jojoima. So Jojoima is in the Kenema district. So in this year, as Taylor highlighted previously, we were able to reach into 4 new communities in the Kenema district of Sierra Leone. So currently we are officially now in 3 districts in Sierra Leone, and that's really exciting. So in the Kenema district, Jojo is not that far from the main city, but for a community that isn't too far from the city center, they are going through a lot and having a lot of multidimensional poverty and a lot of financial and also just systematic issues. But what I wanted to highlight today were the women in Jojo. And we highlight the Now program. If you've followed us for a very long time, we highlight the Now program a lot. And that's because we truly believe it works and we continually see how much it works. And we see the impact where these women who are usually very shy, usually very reserved, usually have all these amazing ideas, but not really the resources to bring these ideas to life. We see them, transform in the space of a year and they're doing amazing things. So this year, we're able to engage in Jojoema, and we had 45 women participate in the Nurturing Opportunities for Women program. And 45, depending on who you are, it could be a big number, it could be a small number for us, but for us, that's 45 women in a community where women aren't really given a choice or a voice. 45 women put their hands up to say, no, I actually want to see something different and I want to see change. So 45 women enrolled in the program, and out of that 45 women, excitingly, we had a 98% graduation rate. So that means 45 out of those 45 women, around 44, 43 women were able to stick it out and actually stay till the end and say, I want to learn. And these programs aren't by far easy, because if you think about it, the literacy rate and the literacy challenges is something that's really hard. We had over 29% with the illiteracy rate, and that 29% didn't stop these women from saying, actually, no, even if I don't know how to maybe read or write, I want to accomplish this. I want to, increase my business skills. I want to learn how to improve my finances. And I want to be able to stand in front of, I want to be able to stand in front of meetings and be able to be vocal and public and, speak my mind and be confident. So with all of that, our programs are picture-based for that reason, because we know that we have such high illiteracy rates in some of these communities. So in Jojo, there's 29% illiteracy rate, but with a 90%, 98% graduation rate. And I hope those numbers makes it sound grander, because it is really big to see those things and to hear those things. And one of my favorite women who is there was Hawa. So Hawa and her husband, they're quite a young couple, and they've lived in Jojo all their life. But being able to see the pride of her husband as, she gets up there at the end of it with her graduation certificate. This is a little thing that we do, but it makes such a huge difference. It makes such a huge difference when we see husbands and wife come together for this very moment. A lot of times, we usually see a bit of resistance from the male family members, but seeing Hawa and her husband, together up there with that photo, it really just melts my heart, because you see the impact, but you just see just the love and the support there. And that, I think, is a testament of, your support, everyone who's watching, but also a testament of just these women and their families, wanting something different and wanting change. And finally, the impact of these projects, we're now seeing 100% of 100% of the participants now have the confidence to, stand up and speak individually. And before we did this graduation, we did a baseline survey, and only 24% were actually feeling confident to speak. So prior to the program, we only had a very handful amount of women who were confident to even speak up in a meeting. And by the end of it, all of these women were standing in front of their graduation ceremony, speaking their minds, saying the changes. So I just want to say thank you for your support. Women like Howard and her husband, they're now able to, plan for their future, save, start thinking of business ideas. The ideas were there, but they just didn't have the resources. So looking at the pride on her husband's face, knowing that, wow, my wife has kind of broken the mold where women weren't able to speak or women couldn't plan for their household, seeing that pride in his face, I think says a lot. So thank you so much for everyone. Thank you so much to everyone for your support, for following us along, because Jojo Emma is just one of the many communities and a testament. And as Taylor quickly mentioned, 432 workshops. 432 workshops is a lot in a year. This is week after week for a lot of these women and a lot of dedication outside of these workshops. So we're really glad to see these numbers. Without further ado, I will send it over to Jill, who's going to talk a lot more about her visit. But yeah, thank you so much all for your support.
Quick question.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Quick question.
Oh, go ahead,
Yes,
Kofi.
Kofi.
Yeah, so Vanessa, you mentioned about 3 districts. Is that in Sierra Leone? You're talking about where, so which are those districts? I know you mentioned about Kailaun, then Kenema,
Yes,
and
the
then I
Kenema
also,
district. Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I also read that you are planning on opening another district, like in Connaught district. Is that, so we're able to include Connaught district in this program or no, or that's just in the initial phase yet?
That I won't. You're having the sneak peek this right now, but yes, we've started the initial phases in the Connaught district. So we've gone into the communities and we've identified the communities and the amazing women who'll be part of the now program in 2025. So they're basically part of the district now because we've done all the phases in this year. So we'll officially launch in 2025.
The reason why I'm saying that, I am originally from Connaught district. So, and that's why I really commend this organization for what you're doing. Like you said, you started in Kailaun, Kenema district, and now you're going to open another program in Connaught district. So it's all for just Sierra Leone, but in particular, usually they say put your money where your mouth is. But in trying to going to be supporting OneVillage partners, emphasis is going to be on that too. Just not just for Connaught, but for the entire Sierra Leone. But because what you guys are doing, this is really huge. You're building confidence, especially in the native communities where, especially with women, in every society, women always get a short change. But now you're building confidence in them. It's not just going to end with the women, because then with the women, they're going to bring in the children. You're talking about illiteracy rate. It started out with 29%, now at least about 98% graduated, and now they feel confident they can stand up and speak for themselves, and then they have the support of the husbands. And that's another thing that's so important. When you bring the husbands together with the women and then with the children, this program is going to grow. It's going to grow, and people are going to thrive, and then they're going to excel, and then they're going to see the benefits. And you talk especially about illiteracy. You're going to see that reading, writing, that builds confidence in people in every society, and especially with women, young girls. In everything we read about in society, women, girls are left out, but they are part of the community. They build up the community. They brought people into this world, women. So therefore, with the backing of the husband and with a program like what you have, I really commend you for the work you're doing. So I thank you for inviting me, and hopefully I continue to help and then do what I need to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kofi. Oh, Mr. Momo. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
thanks,
welcome.
Kofi. It's really fun to hear your commentary on it too, because we all on staff feel so enthusiastic about this program, and we get to see the impact day after day, right, of talking with different community groups and talking with women in Sierra Leone and seeing how their lives change, right? Like we talk about the big numbers, like, oh, we were able to do, 400 and some trainings, like that's huge. But when you talk about the number of people whose lives are actually changed significantly, like it's huge. And so to hear that you can see that too from someone who's not kind of in the chaos of the day to day and all of the regular implementation is really fun. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
I, I'm just gonna run through. I have a few pictures to show you from my trip to Sierra Leone last month. It was such a lovely trip. I was able to go with three supporters of OneVillage partners, and we got to spend a lot of time with staff and out in partner communities and had really just like an incredible time. So I'll go through these pictures just kind of quickly because I want to leave room for questions and discussion because that's kind of the fun and the magic in these town halls. But these two pictures that you see right here are on Bunce Island. And I think a lot of folks on this call will be familiar with Bunce Island, which was a slave trading port off the coast of Freetown in Sierra Leone that took a lot of slaves from Sierra Leone and West Africa more broadly to the United States, and largely to South Carolina, for rice cultivation. And so it was a really important visit, and it's really an emotional visit because there's so much history there. It's really heavy. But this is what we do on the kind of beginning of the trip to kind of set the context and kind of ground ourselves in the historical perspective and on slavery and colonialism, which I think just brings a lot more depth to the trip overall and like ability to kind of, see the bigger picture. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is a video. Let's see if this works with the screen share, but would love to show you. This is our first community visit. All right, it's a little choppy. Maybe we just cut that, but if it's choppy for others, I just want to tell you what's going on here. There is some very vibrant dancing happening. So we have staff, and then one of the travelers who came with, Margreta, who's actually a Liberian woman who lives in Minnesota. And there was every community that we visited is so festive upon arrival. I know those who have visited Sierra Leone or are from Sierra Leone on this call, like this, like um, whenever we'd get to a community, we'd be greeted with singing and dancing. And it was just really, it made everyone smile and really set like such a warm and friendly tone on community and interdependence and all of these and just joy, right? It was really lovely. And so um, our first visit was in a community we've partnered with for quite a while called Golown. And we can go to the next slide. And it was really fun to visit Golan because some of you who have been around OneVillage Partners for a while will recall that we did a very interesting infrastructure project that the community designed based on their priority need, which was a bridge to connect the community with the farmland and where the school is. And so before this project, it was like a pretty janky bridge, I think, with some logs that were connected. People would fall in, and we heard that children had died from falling into the river. And this was an area that absolutely had to be traversed for people's livelihoods so they could earn a living. And so the community said when we started working with them, like, this is our biggest priority. Like, we need to be able to cross this river at all seasons. And so we worked with Engineers Without Borders, and the community put together this bridge project. And so it was really fun to be back there many years later and see how much traffic there is and how much this bridge is still used and upkept. I mean, it just is still in like pristine condition. And everyone was just so like joyful to be able to show it off and, just excited about the partnership and our continued work together. So we can go to the next slide. So we went to visit one of our newer partners in Taconco, and I won't ask you to play this video because I think it just isn't going to work so well on Zoom. But this was some more singing and dancing from NOW participants. And because we just started working in Taconco, we are done with the first community action program and the first cycle of the NOW program. And so all of the NOW participants, you can see their shirts. They were all like dressed in this like beautiful lapa, and they all matched, and there was just the singing, dancing. They pull you, everybody who's visiting, they pull you into the dancing. There's no escaping the dancing, even if you're not a good dancer, and just celebrate the work. And we can go to the next slide. I want to show the community action project that was completed. So this is the secondary school in Taconco that was recently built, and it was in session when we were visiting. And before this project, and this was interesting because this is the first community we've worked in that chose something besides water and sanitation for their first priority, because it was so problematic that they didn't have a secondary school that was accessible. If anyone was going to send their kids to secondary school, they would have to pay rent, pay for food, and essentially lodge their children without supervision in another community that they couldn't just traverse for the day, right? They had to go for long periods of time. And it was incredibly problematic and very expensive for people to do that. And so they built the secondary school. They have teachers. It was in session. And there was just, again, so much joy and excitement about rolling this project out. super, super fun to see and impactful, right? Because then when kids can go to school, it impacts, just like we were talking about with the Now program, like when women are trained, when women have a voice, like it has all of this knock-on impact. It's the same with education, right? When there are opportunities for kids to go to school and progress, there are more job opportunities. And education is something that really permeates like so many aspects of life and development. So let's go to the next slide. Um, this is we were able to visit Konabu, which is another of our newer partner communities. And again, those who have been to Sierra Leone know how special it is if a devil makes an appearance. And in all my trips, this is only the second time that a devil has made an appearance when I've been in communities. And so it's very exciting and very playful, and was just a huge highlight that I just couldn't believe that we had that sort of treatment and welcome coming in. So next slide, please. Just a few pictures. This is me with the travelers I was with. Let's go to the next one. I can talk about the project in Konabu. So the picture on the left, as you can see, is completely dilapidated structures. These were the latrines that existed before we started the partnership. And as you might imagine from looking at that, that was the first priority area the community wanted to address through our partnership. They said there are too many instances of open defecation because there are no functional latrines in the community. Children were sick. Prevalence of diarrheal disease was incredibly high. And so they designed a latrine project. And you see then, probably obviously on the right, are the new latrines that the community built in partnership with us. And we just heard testimony after testimony from people in Konabu about how their lives have changed. And one of the most, if not the most meaningful moment on the trip was we were in a community meeting in Konabu, and one of the women from the Now program got up and she thanked us and she said, "Our children are not dying anymore." And it was just such a reminder that even though we're far away and we're looking at these, the projects kind of high level and how many communities are we in and how many people can we reach, right? Like when you get down to the individual and the impact it has on people's lives, our work saves lives and it changes lives. And to be able to hear that and just be in community and like see the impact of the work was incredibly special and moving, and just motivation, right, for keeping it going. So um, I think that's my last slide. So it was a really, like, I know that was really quick. It was a fantastic whirlwind of a trip. And I think, are we going to take slides down and we can have some discussion, or no, sorry, we have one more piece. Sorry.
No, you're good. We have one more thing. We just want to give a super brief just shout out to some of the things that we're expecting for 2025, and then we'll get to the end and have a little bit of time for Q&A. Vanessa, do you want to go over some things?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be super quick because I'm really excited for the discussions as well. Just looking ahead to 2025, as we've, kind of said that we're really excited to be operating in Kono now, and Kenema and Kailahun. So continue our work, but just with a greater impact. My greatest, as I talked about the Nile program, I'm continually beaming, but we just talked about 400 and or just over 400 women graduating from now in 2024. Well, we're going to push that to 1,000. We want to see so many women impacted, and we want to see so many women reached with this program because we know the impact it brings. So we're excited for over 1,000 women to be financially empowered. We're excited for over 1,000 women to be able to, speak up in their homes, being able to plan financially for their family, increase their business skills, and just seeing what's going to happen from that. And above all else, as we, as Jill just so put, and I really got emotional there, which is 100% true, is that the community action program will be partnering with 4 more communities, and excited to see, whether it's latrines or any other project, we're excited to see the impact. And it's, as Jill said, it's at that individual level. So we aren't just building buildings, or we aren't just supporting these communities to build buildings, but it is the individual lives. It is the children saved. It is, the community members, feeling empowered and feeling like they've got ownership of what they want to do. So thank you so much again for your support. And we're going to open it up for questions now.
Yeah, thanks everyone for just for hearing the presentation, for being here. And I just want to really quickly just say, Thank you for your support, for just being Friends of OneVillage partners. To stay connected with us next year, we would just love if you could just keep up with us on social media and sign up for our email newsletter. These are great ways to just hear about the impact. Like we're partnering with 4 communities through community action next year, and we can't wait to just see what they do and to be able to share that impact with you. So if you want to hear about these things, stay connected with us. We would love to just be able to share about your impact with you as 2025 gets here. So we are going to switch over. We have a little bit of time for the Now program. Oh my gosh, sorry. The Q&A, not the Now program. I've been very focused on the Now program recently, but I'm going to figure out how to close my screen and then we can see each other for a little bit. We have probably time for just 1 or 2 short questions. And I know Amelia already has her hand raised. So Amelia, if you want to ask your question.
But Amelia and short question do not align, but I'll do my best. So I get excited every time I get these updates and bummed when I can't make the town halls. It's been about 7 years since I went on the trip with the rest of the Pumwis. And I was so excited to see Margarita, um, the Liberian lady, because we're friends, and she mentioned that she was in Sierra Leone, and I thought she was just making a trip, like hopping over from Liberia to Sierra Leone. Never mentioned it, but it was so good to see them, and it was also good, Jill, with the update on that Golan Bridge, because I remember when we were there, it wasn't up and going. So I love to see these improvements, and I do want to thank you as a Sierra Leonean born and in sub-zero temperature Minnesota today. I do appreciate OVP's updates and what we're doing in Sierra Leone for our people. I was excited to see Miss Anne because Marjo has a special place in my heart. That's my village. And Miss Anne, some of you may remember I did a presentation at one of our partner breakfasts, and I quoted her because I just love that woman. She is just phenomenal. She's embraced OVP's program and being that advocate on the ground, speaking and going to other villages. I really love that. And when you share about the husbands supporting their wives in the Now program, I wonder if I'm related to Hawakane because the name sounds familiar, but I don't know my people that much. Uncle Kofi, the fact that you are indirectly raising your hand for Kono, I hope you keep those hands up and continue to recruit more people because OVP needs all the help we can get for the next round of towns and partnerships and communities that we're going into. And I know we have a decent group of Sierra Leoneans that are from Kono or Kenema and all the other areas that we're looking at. So definitely recruit and get people to come on board and support either way they can. Um, you got me emotional with the latrines and that lady quoting Vanessa about our kids are no longer dying. In some instances it may seem insignificant, but the impact is huge. And I just want to say thank you. And I keep saying this, I've been out of Sierra Leone for almost 28 years, and I'm still struggling why we're still talking about latrines and more and building schools. But the one thing that comes to mind that gives me hope is that when we have secondary schools in those villages, then we don't risk losing the good people. Because if they move to a bigger town or a bigger city, that's almost the brain drain for those villages. So the more we can keep them in our villages, the more we can keep them in our towns, the better we'll develop and get the impact that's sustainable. So no question, but just a thank you and just my observation with the presentation. And I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amelia.
So, in addition to what Amelia just said, I want to give my kudos and thanks to Jill, Taylor, Vanessa, for the good work you guys are doing. This is really exciting. This is really exciting. Jill mentioned the fact that what this group is doing is changing lives, saving lives, which is what we need. Which is what we need. For those of you who have been to Sierra Leone is not supposed to be in this condition at all. And that's why you sacrifice your time, you leave your comfortable zone, say in the United States, and then you go to Sierra Leone because it's a complete turnaround when you go to Sierra Leone. Not in every part of Sierra Leone, because like in Freetown, usually you land in Lungi and then you go to Freetown, live in the luxurious hotels. But when you go into the provinces, I saw the video about the latrines, so deplorable. And especially when Jill said that now the women said our children are no longer dying from diarrhea, typhoid. Can you imagine? Because even though looking at that latrine, it's not even comparable to the to the toilet we have there. But this is what people do with, they live with it. It's completely different. If you look at that picture on the video on the left compared to the one on the right, it's like night and day. It's not much, but they are content, they are happy. And that's the thing with the Sierra Leoneans. In spite of all the sufferings they are going through from the civil war up till now, but they are still content. They're so resilient. Sierra Leoneans are so resilient. And that's why I really thank you guys for what you're doing. And for the fact that now you're going to Kono. Like I said, I am from Kono. I grew up and I was born and raised, went to the elementary schools and then to the secondary schools. And then one point that Jill mentioned about the secondary school that they built in Tinkonko. This is going to create so much impact. For instance, like with me, I never attended secondary school until after independence because there were no secondary schools in Kono district. Can you imagine? This is where diamonds are coming from. No secondary schools in Kono district. If you had to go to secondary school, you had to go to Kenema, Bo of Frita, or Maburuka. So deplorable, but it is what it is. For times are changing and things are changing. So with your help and with your support, and for what Emilia said, that I have to spread this to the other Kono people, and not just Kono, but the entire Sierra Leone. We need to get together, and with your back, with your support from NGOs or OVP, this is going to impact lives and it's going to make a huge difference. All this violence, all this conflict that is going around is so meaningless. It's so meaningless everywhere in the world. Communication, development, progress, that's what we need. And we are in all partnership together with everybody, with the United States. Because what's good for one is good for all of us. And then people can travel back and forth, exchange ideas, exchange resources, because it's a global village. It's a global world we are living in. But some people don't even see that. And it all boils down to education. Look at the amount of illiteracy the video showed, from 28%. Now some of these women can read. I'm not sure if they can read and write, but at least the programs you provided for them, now they can feel confident. They can stand up with the help of their husbands. And like I said, Allah is not going to just help end with the husbands and the women, but then with their children too. Now that the secondary school you've opened, that alone is going to create a lot of impact. Reading, writing, critical thinking, the benefits they can get from that education, because education alone is not going to cut it. If you use that education, skills, use those skills to better yourself and to better other people around you, your community, your villages. So thank you so much for the work you're doing. And like I said earlier, I hope now that I've been invited to this program, I've been getting emails, I've been seeing your wonderful work you've been doing. They say a picture is more than 10,000 words. And that's exactly what these videos have done. And Jill, Vanessa, Taylor, and the other groups, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I saw
Thank
you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Moon.
Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, these comments were like making me tear up. So we just appreciate that so much, Amelia, Kofi. We just are so thankful that what you shared, it just is definitely going to stick with us. But yeah, thank you guys for coming to the town hall. We are a little over time, so we will end here. But we're going to send out a link to the recording of this. So if you want to watch it again, feel free. If you also want to send it to other friends, feel free to do that as well. But we'll get that to you soon. But thank you so much again for coming. Thank you for everything that you have done in supporting OneVillage Partners this year. We cannot wait for next year. So yeah, we're gonna wrap this up, but feel free to stick around for a little bit if you want to say bye to people. But thanks again for coming.
Bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. Happy
much. Bye,
holidays. Thank you.
Kaka. Season's greetings.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Happy holidays.